Welcome back to the show. Up next, we will discuss business opportunities in the car paint sector or industry, if you like. And to help me x-ray that and tell us a whole lot more about it, I have with me in the studio an entrepreneur and a professional in who deals with car paintings, Mr. Pascal Namdi. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, first of all, I want you to tell me about how you get to, first of all, identify what is it that a particular customer needs and how you satisfy what they want.
Okay. About what a particular customer need and getting down to how we satisfy what they want. Um, the customer, when the customer comes into the shop, he opens up his mouth because I can't know what he need by me looking at him. He tells me the problem of his car. He tells me what he needs. Then I will now tell him how and where to get it. That is it.
Okay. Okay. Now, do you source your materials locally,
No, no,
or
no.
do you have to import your
No,
products?
one thing about car painting is like kind of we have the local one and the auto base. So anything about auto base in car paint is imported. They are all imported. It's not something we source locally. We import them all.
All right. So, if someone, for instance, wanted to tour your line of business, because we're talking about business opportunities that can exist in the carpenting world, if someone wanted to go into your line of business, what should they take into consideration?
Okay, going into the line of car painting business, from my experience in the business so far, it's not something you just venture into it because it's something you must have an experience about it. When I say experience about it, you must go through a person who is already selling on ground, either in a retail aspect or in the wholesale aspect. So you must go through someone, you go learn, and for a specific time, then when you feel or when the person feel that you are okay with it, then the person can ask you to go
Go be on
ahead.
your own.
Yes.
So, Mr. Namdi, we're actually looking at business opportunities in the car painting industry. If someone wanted to tour your line of business, for instance, what are some of the things that they need to consider and the challenges that you go through? What are some of the challenges that you face as a businessman?
The challenges we face as a businessman, more especially in the painting aspect, which I am, is presently the increase rates in dollar and all of that due to is an imported goods. So the increase in dollar affects us. One, two. Depending on your level in the business, When I say depending on your level in the business, if for example, if you're not an importer, you are buying from the importer, and you're having an importer around your area, the challenges we have there is the importer might be selling something different and you might be selling something different. So now a customer will not want to see where they are selling. Nobody would like to see where they are selling 2 naira and go to where they are selling 10 naira. Everybody wants to buy at a cheaper rate so that he or she can sell and make his or her profits. That's it.
What do you do specially to ensure that you keep your customers and that new people, potential customers, will get to know you?
Okay. When I say what I do specially to keep my customer and to get new customer, first of all, the present one you have on ground, you have to curtail or bring down your rate of the price of your goods.
Pricing.
So them themselves will introduce you to the new ones, or they will bring the new ones to you by, oh, he sells at a cheaper rate, he sells at a better price, come let me direct you, look at his contact, look at his name, go to his place, he will give you something better than where you are getting from before. That's the key thing that we do, a kind of referral. Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. I want you to walk us through the processes. What are the various processes of actually giving a car a facelift? The whole process of it. What does it entail?
Okay. And initially I said we do the wholesale, but not like we don't have an idea about the retail or the final consumers. Okay. Then when it comes to that, the first process is you grant the car to a panel who we check the whole car and find a place, because in every car there is a dent. There's what we call dent, a kind of where that where has been broken, which they will peel off, sandpaper it. They will apply the body filler first of all. After the body filler, then they will wash with the sandpaper. After the sandpaper, then the painting comes. That is it.
Would you say it's a business that is rewarding? Would you say as a businessman, would you say the business of carpenting is rewarding and encourage fellow young men to go into it?
If I should say it's not encouraging or rewarding, I'm lying. It's a
Okay.
business that any young man, not even a man, not only the men, the women can also venture
Oh,
into it.
beautiful, beautiful.
Understand? It's not something of the men only. The women can also venture into it. We have many, not we, even presently, I have many customers, female mothers that are into the business.
Really?
So yeah, I have customers who are into the business. So it's something, one thing about business is if you've already tell yourself that this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it perfectly, you have no limit to it. So just like as I say, I have female young ladies and I also have mothers into the system
Carpenting business.
yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. You know, the business world is dynamic. There are always new trends, new developments coming up from time to time. How do you ensure that you keep up with the latest products in the market?
Just like as I said, as an importer, you go out there, they give you what they have, they let you know about the new dynamic that is online, that is on process. Then it's left for you to definitely every young man or woman in this present generation will want to go follow the trending. So you ought to go with them. They tell you the price, you go into it, you bring it here, you market it, and people buy and likes. That is it.
Speaking of marketing, what are some of the things that you, as a businessman, what are some of the things that you consider from the start of a transaction, from when they bring in a vehicle to your premises? Well, how do you keep up transaction to make sure that at the end of the day, you don't run into a loss and you make some profit?
Nice one. Every business have challenges, and for any man who wants to make profit, we have to calculate the price at which we buy the goods, the price of transportation, getting down to the shop. Then after that, you now fix your own little profit. Why did I use the word little profit? Just like as I said before, you have to do the market survey to know what you are doing, to know if your customers is still with you. So that little profit is what sustains you at the point in time. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. And finally, before you go, what advice would you give to young men or women who would want to come into the business of carpenting?
The advice I think I can grant to young men and women like me is a just stay focused. Stay focused. If this is what you want, go into it, give it your best, and you will come out successfully.
All right, thank you for coming to speak with us on the show. Well, what more can I say? I like how he ended it there. I've been speaking with Mr. Pascal Namdi, a businessman into carpenting. He said with focus, with determination, and consistency, success can actually come your way if you, as a young man or woman, decide to go into carpenting today as an entrepreneur. It is still Good Morning Abuja, and I sure do hope that we're adding value to your morning. Stay with us. After the short break, the show will continue. All right, welcome back, and I hope you're having a fantastic time on the show with us this morning. Our next line of discussion is going to center around brand identity and, of course, value for the brand. And helping me to discuss that, I have an entrepreneur in the house with me, Mr. Richard Udochukwu Godswill. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. All right, I want you to start by telling me what are the basic values that you think that any healthy brand must incorporate into their business?
Thank you. Making sure that your brand is well presentable. First of all, people will say your eyes must see, before you will get convinced that something like that is good. But sometimes some package might not just represent the brand the way it is, but the content sometimes might be more of quality than just a whole lot of painting and
Aesthetics.
presentation. But still, I think that the most basic value is to be very hygienic and let your brand be presentable. That impression, first of all, can take it a little bit far.
What are some of the quality control measures that you go through to ensure that your goods meet up good standards for consumption?
The measures we go through to make sure that our goods meet up to or it's up to the standard of healthy consumption. Say, like I say, the first time, hygiene. This is something people eat. This is something people drink when they want to marry. So I think the basic thing to do is to make sure that it is processed to everyone's consumption, that this person can actually have it and this person will have it, and they will, maybe the two of them can actually agree that this is good. When one person complains one thing and the other complains another thing, you will find that there is definitely something that you need to bargain about this very stuff. But if your product is well processed for consumption, it doesn't have any reaction, it doesn't have any after effect, I think that it could be one of the standards that you can incorporate in your product to make sure that it's accepted even in the market.
What about a situation if it arises that you import your goods and you discover that they end up not meeting quality standards that will satisfy your customer needs? How do you handle such a situation?
Well, that would be a problematic situation for whoever would have brought such a product into the country. But I think that if you are a good businessman, sometimes you will always come across some things that people will complain about your product. And if you take a good advice from your customers, you can just go back to the table and fix the things properly and maybe come back to the market again. Because the more you leave it, the more the business will die.
Now, as a businessman, how do you ensure that your brand is compliant with all government rules and regulations and all government laws, that is governing the import activities?
Yes, that's one of the things that you must look out for in business, because I deal on wine, and one of the things I need to do is to make sure that I have an NAFDAC number, and every other organization that I needed to make sure that I have their documentation to avoid any kind of embarrassment in the market or to my customers. So we make sure that we meet up to those standards and make sure that everything is documented so that we can actually have our way into the market without any kind of interference.
All right, and finally, I want you to leave an advice for young people who may wish to toll your line of business. What should they look out for?
Okay, for young people who are out there who are trying to get into my line of business or any other business, one thing is to be courageous. Don't be afraid. I have a friend that whenever you talk to him about business or maybe go to the bank, you can get a loan, you can do this, you can do that, and help yourself to grow. He will tell you that I'm afraid if I take money from the bank, the money will go, I might not be able to pay back and stuff and stuff. So, but like I said before, if the system is working, if you have something that you want to do and you are very sure you can achieve that, approach the banks, and probably if you are lucky, you can get something that will help you to stand on your ground and forge ahead with life.
All right, thank you, Mr. Goswell, for coming to talk to us on the show. Well,
Thank you
what more
very
can I
much.
say? You heard it there. Business is definitely not for the faint-hearted. Any venture in life really is not for the faint-hearted. But like he said, don't be afraid, be courageous. It is doable. Stay with us. It is still Good Morning Abuja on NTA Channel 5. Another short break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. And moving ahead on the show, up next we will discuss fire safety measures in our local markets. To help me explain that topic, I have the Deputy Controller, FCT Fire Service, as my guest. Let's welcome Mr. Kayode Jern. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
the show. I want you to tell us what fire safety measures would you recommend for a local market setting?
Well, talking about fire safety, I'm sure this is very, very important, not only to local markets, but just everywhere. But now we're talking with particular reference to local markets. And
Yes.
first of all, we want to look at what the local market is supposed to be like. That's a
Okay.
place where people transact, businesses buys and sells. And that's also a place where people keep their products. And therefore, the issue of construction of the local markets itself is very paramount here, giving consideration to the fact that all the necessary things that will be done there need to be properly positioned, as it were. So, in terms of construction, it is important that the issue of road network, very, very important, where you can have movement of vehicles and all the rest of them, and particularly when there is going to be any emergency, definitely the fire trucks can have a way to move within the market or network through, because the fire can be anywhere,
Yes, that's
any known location within the market. Then, of course, it is also important that there is a proper segmentation of the market where buildings are well positioned,
Demarcated.
demarcated properly. And also very necessary is consideration of the necessary fire defense equipment. We have basic fire defense equipment like fire extinguishers, like smoke detectors. I mean, that we put in places in order to support those who are going to be attending to the fire in case of any emergencies.
So you mentioned the way they need to arrange their stalls
Yes,
to
yes,
mitigate risk and
yes,
also handle appliances.
yes.
Okay, so what type of waste are we most likely to cause a fire in a local market, and how should they be properly disposed of?
Well, you see, in any market, like I said, from the issue of construction, you should have a process of disposing the waste.
Disposal.
Yeah, and the proper way is that you have an incinerator. Incinerator will take care of some of the waste that can be taken care of maybe within a small.
Remember, we're talking a local market setting here.
Even the local market, however local it is, you see, yes, of course, we have stop gaps. If you say you cannot have something that is so modern or the rest of them, at least digging a small ditch, that is being controlled, and you can just have the waste there and get them bumped. I mean, just over a time, is something that's acceptable in that kind of a local market too. And even having to do anything that has to do with naked fire within the market perimeters is another very important, and that's where we have problem. A lot of people, carry out cooking activities.
A local market is where you see women, they are frying their bean cakes, they are roasting corns and other edibles. We cannot rule away this kind of settings in the rural market. Now, what emergency procedures should these vendors take in the case of an outbreak? What can they
Good.
do as an emergency measure?
Now let me now try and talk in terms of the local market.
Okay,
I want to go
please.
that way so that we don't mix it up. If it's a local market, of course, honestly speaking, however local, they must have a means to mitigate emergency. Very, very important. They must have that knowledge, because the issue of emergency does not want to know whether you are local or you are rural. That's it. It doesn't leave anyone out. It doesn't leave any location out. So in that case, the people must really be educated at least to their level, to what they
What they
needed to
can do
do, what they can do
immediately.
immediately. And you will know very well that, honestly speaking, even before we got to the modern age where we use modern equipment and all the rest of them like that, they also know that there are certain things that they're supposed to do. For instance, now within that market there, like somebody that is cooking, they have a bucket of water around them
Beside
there
them.
beside. So, and whenever there's any little thing that happens, since it's not electrical, you are not, except you are using an electrical stove. That's when you can say water
There's
is
even
not
a
good.
local balance of quickly mix water and detergent.
Very good. Even ordinary water will even do the work, because it's not anything that is too. The fire here is about one of the what we call class A fire, which involves just the wood. It's not a chemical fire here. If it's a chemical fire, that's where you can be talking of you will need chemical foam.
Extinguishes.
Chemical foam. But in this case, even around them too, when it depends on the way they arrange the market. Because you see, the issue of fire is this: it's about availability of fuel. Because the process of fire is about having fuel, having heat, and then you now have, the particular things that is even burning itself. What is burning itself is the fuel. Then you have the oxygen around it that heats the burning, and then you now have the temperature, and that, the temperature here has to do with having to heat up the material that is burning. Now, everything around where you are cooking are being heated up because there's radiation. Heat is going on the hem. So all of these things are already taking up, heat, and the temperature is rising. And as much as the temperature can rise, there's what we call igniting temperature. Every materials have what we call igniting temperature. And if the temperature can be risen to that point, it must pick fire. So they must be able to make sure that they regulate the cooking in such a way that anything that has to be, that is inflammable, that can catch fire all around them, they have to make sure that they do away with them, take them off there, so that wherever they are going to cook, just make sure that you arrange yourself so much that you will not have anything around you that can at least catch fire. So if the fire is still within that your stove, if there's anything in the process of your cooking, it can be handled just within that place also.
Thank you so much. All right, now seeing that most of them are hardly enlightened, our local vendors, the local market women especially, is there any measures that you take to ensure that they have adequate fire safety sensitization?
Yes, men, the fire prevention unit, actually their duty is to create awareness on fire prevention, and they are always on the move. The local markets are places where they also, go to. Everywhere that human beings are, having their activities going on, the fire prevention is always there. And they just teach them, basic procedures, that they need to know in terms of averting, the occurrence of fire in the first place. And in case there is fire, what they needed to do. I was also saying it now that even if in the market they don't have the fire extinguisher, which is not supposed to be in any, because in this age that we're in, we cannot just give any excuse. So it's important that they have something like that. But in case they don't have it, you see, we have even sand. Sand can even help. Well, the process of fighting fire is, majorly what we call blanketing. And blanketing here is when you're able to cut off the supply of oxygen to the surface of fire that is burning. You can use sand to do it. You can use a blanket to do it, and you can use fire extinguisher to do it. But in
Speaking
their
of
own
which,
case,
yes, okay.
they have enough sand around that place. And you will always see that even when it happens, like I tell you, they will always know that, let me use sand and pour it on it. But then they must have what it takes to do that. Because it's not just that throwing it by force that we really fight the fire, but just take the sand, spread it on the surface of the fire. It will block oxygen from coming in, and the fire will give up.
All right. Someone has mentioned once that the way you fight a fire emanating from electricals is different from the way you fight a fire emanating from maybe wood or paper or mattress. Quickly differentiate between these two just before we round up.
Electrical, because there is current there, so anything that is liquid will be a problem.
Must not, okay.
Yeah, you can't take it near it. And the truth is that our carbon dioxide fire extinguisher, of course, it has water content. And then you also have the water, also because we have fire extinguisher that only contain water. And we have the one that also have carbon dioxide. They will have the dry chemical powder. So both the water, fire extinguisher, and the carbon dioxide, you cannot use it. But even more importantly, in any space that there is fire and there is electricity, you have to put off the electricity, cut off the supply first of all before
Immediately.
you go ahead.
Thank you so much. It's been very educating
It's a
speaking
pleasure.
with you. Thank you so much. I have been speaking with the Deputy Controller, FCT Fire Service, Mr. John Coyote. I hope you learned. I learned a whole lot from that discussion, and I hope I can say the same thing for you. We continue to give these sensitizations on Good Morning Abuja. Stay with us. We will take a short break, and the show will continue. All right, welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with Good Morning Abuja today. Well, up next, I'll discuss something really, really pertinent because it seems like it affects each and every single family around the country. I am talking about the incessant decline in, success rates, the low performance rates in mathematics amongst students in secondary schools in Nigeria. This is what will form the bulk of our discussion this morning in the studio. And helping me to do that, I've got very big wigs and professionals in the field. They will help me to x-ray this all-important subject. So let me welcome my guests. I have the Director General of the National Mathematical Center, Professor Promise Mebini. Good morning, Prof.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. And also accompanying the professor is another professor, and he is the coordinator of mathematical sciences education at the National Mathematical Center, Professor Steve Oluwaniyi. Good morning, Prof.
Thank you. Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, Professor Mebini, let me start with you. Why don't you start by giving us an overview of all the happenings at the National Mathematical Center when it was established? And of course, you can talk about your mandate.
Well, we need to understand that National Mathematical Center was established in 1988, a couple of years back, 37 years ago. And of course, International Center of Excellence in Mathematical Sciences. When we talk about National Mathematical Sciences, we'll talk about 5 key areas that we are dealing with. We are dealing with mathematics, computer science, statistics, physics, and mathematical sciences education. And the mandate of the center since it was established, number one, was to develop high-level resource persons at all levels. That is to say, start from teachers to polytechnics, colleges of education, universities, lecturers, and all that. And that's what we've been doing. And of course, one of the key mandates again is to see that we improve the performance of Nigerian students in mathematics, nationally and internationally. And of course, in doing that, we have to come up with methods of teaching mathematics in different ways to enhance performance. And doing that, we produced teaching aids and tools to enhance the teaching of mathematics and to make it simple for students to understand. Of course, we also go about selecting the best students. We conduct national Olympiad exams within the country, that pick the best students and take them outside the country for international competitions, like PAMO, Pan-African Mathematics Olympiads. We also have HIMO, International Mathematics Olympiads. We have HIFO, International Physics Olympiads, chemistry, biology, and others. So that's what we do every year. Then HIOHI, International Olympiad of Informatics. These are things that we do every year.
Interesting. Thank you for that explicit explanation there. Let me come to you, Professor Olani. What would you say are some of the causes, the main causes behind the seemingly low performance of mathematics generally amongst secondary school students?
Yeah, many factors conspire to bring the students to this unpalatable situation of low performances. And the foundation is very, very germane. If you have a very weak foundation, whatever is put on it is susceptible to collapse. So we need to have
a very solid foundation, and interest, because students are no longer very interested in mathematics. Their interests declines on a daily basis. And we've discovered that if you don't have interest in anything, you cannot generate energy or time to perform in that area. Then, of course, we know the people who take care of the learners, the students. We have that, though the government is doing their own, they're putting in their best, we still have a lot to do with regards to teacher professional training, especially when you talk of content mastery and pedagogy. You cannot give what you don't have. It's to the level of the comprehension of the teachers that they will go to train the learners. And of course, we cannot shy away from the aspect of inadequate resource materials in the schools. And even when they are available, how do we make use of them? Maintenance, culture, and so many other things. Time to study. The family has its own role to play at home. It's not only the school, it's not only the government. There are so many parents, they will be so happy to come out openly to say that I made F9 in mathematics. But they will never say that in English, that they made F9 in English. We should shy away from that and encourage our students, because there is nothing you can do, generally, basically, without having a premium in the study of mathematics.
Thank you so much. You mentioned teachers support. I'm going to come back to you on that teachers support and training. But before then, Professor Mebini, how would you say that the Mathematical Center has fared, talking about your mandate and success rate so far?
Well, let me first of all talk about the international world. I came in 2021. 2022, we were in Morocco for a competition. I went with only 2 students, 3 students.
3, okay.
3. We were supposed to go with 6, but we went for 3. And of course, those 3 students got 2 gold medals.
Wow.
And of course, we also went to Rwanda 2023. We went with also 3 students. We got 2 gold medals. And of course, last year we couldn't go. I think that held in South Africa. But we did online, and we got 2 silver medals. And what about International Mathematics Olympiads? In the past, we've gotten gold medals, silver medals, and of course, we are doing very well in that regard. And also, in terms of what we're doing, the government is doing very well, that we train undergraduates, university lecturers, polytechnic lecturers, business education lecturers every year. Since I came on board, we have trained over 3,000 teachers, both secondary school, university lecturers. In fact, even this year, we have earmarked lots of programs to take place. And so government is doing very well in that regard. Not just only that, we partner with organizations like UBEC, where they fund us to train senior secondary school teachers and the students. Mathematics every year. We do that every year. It means the government is doing very well in terms of that.
Thank you so much. Professor Oluwani, no matter how hard you try, some students just seem not to be interested in mathematics. Would this have anything to do with maybe the curriculum or the teaching methods, for instance?
I think we need to do more in enlisting the interest of the students, because it depends. It's just like now you are trying to woo somebody to do something good. And if the person is trying to shy away, you still put in more effort to ensure this. With regards to the curriculum, I think we should know that the society is dynamic. And the curriculum also should be as dynamic as the society is. Because any nation that wants to be developed must also look at what should be brought in. And with the recent input that the government is putting in on the curriculum overview and development, I think it's a welcome idea. We review now that a lot of things have been brought into the curriculum, entrepreneurship, skills, and so many other things. But to talk of the interest, like I said, it also depends on how you, introduce a subject to a student. We remember those days, that teachers, when they are coming, mathematics teachers, students will be running out from the window, they are coming from the other side. Or some teachers will show, the atmosphere, they carry themselves as if maybe
Damn
be
you.
very unkempt. They will dress in such a way that maybe you look at them, they will tell you, it's not everybody that can solve mathematics. So many languages that are not supposed to be told the children, they say, what are you doing in my class? It's not your type that should be here. No, such. So in the training we are giving to teachers, they have been trained before coming in, and we have also that there should be included in the pre-service training of the teachers, most of all these pedagogical wherewithal, that you should know how you may have the content mastery. The way you present it is also another way. So let the students be your friends. Let them to be your friends. You're introducing the subject. You bring a lot of applications that are real, because mathematics is real. People may tell you that it's abstract. The abstractness, you cannot shy away from it. But the real application of mathematics will give you a lot of aesthetics by the time you start enjoying the benefits and the blessings of mathematics. So we still need to go on, even when they don't want to put in interest, put in more efforts to ensure that they are interested. Because if they are not interested, there is no way they can make any head. Interest is jamming.
Thank you very much. At this point, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, there's a whole lot of insight into this interesting discussion. Please stay with us.
Welcome back.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're still discussing the low performance rate of mathematics among secondary school students. And I still have with me the Director General for the National Mathematical Center, Professor Promise Mabini, in the company of the Coordinator of Mathematical Sciences Education, Professor Steve Oluwani. Professor Mabini, let me come to you. There's been an influx of private schools all over the place. Would you say that this has caused a decline in the amount of attention that we pay to public schools, and hence caused a decline in performance rates of mathematics?
Definitely the answer is no.
Okay.
Government is doing so much, as I did said at the beginning. Universal Basic Education is government's agency. And they are doing so much in terms of training the junior secondary school teachers. Just as he said, this building will not stand without the foundation. And whatever we see here, without the foundation, it will not stand. And that is what UBEG is doing. They partner with us, collaborate with us every year, fund the center to train junior secondary school teachers every year. So it means the government is doing very well. And that program is purely for government schools. Purely for government, no private schools. And so that's to tell you that government is doing very well. Yes, in terms of the private schools, I cannot and never say that they're doing better. No, government schools are doing better because they have the best resource persons, trained resource persons. You go to private schools, at most you have somebody maybe class 5 or SS3 or maybe NC that maybe has not done anything, or maybe somebody that read chemistry or physics. Now bring the person to come and teach mathematics in private schools. But government school is not so. We have the best trained teachers in government schools. Just as you said, phobia. People are afraid of mathematics. But if you follow the right principles, the rules, it is not difficult. Maths is simple. You need to understand that whatever you're putting on is mathematics. Your clothes are standing because of mathematics. If they're getting my voice, the sound, is as a result of mathematics. The table standing is mathematics. The light you see, mathematics. But we need to understand that. And we need to bring this to the grassroots for them to understand.
Luani, what are some of the misconceptions that some students may have? Some people have said that mathematics is strictly reserved for specially gifted children, geniuses. Is this true? What are some of those? Is this a misconception? Can everybody learn maths?
Yeah, everybody can learn mathematics. Everybody can learn mathematics. It, of course, depends on like I said, the interest that we put in. Even when we have students and they are shying away, it's our responsibility to ensure that they put in their interest in it. And they shouldn't just have the misconception that mathematics is meant for a few. That's what some people will say. They will say it's meant for a few, it's not for everybody. People will come out publicly, openly, joyfully and say, me, I'm not part of you. Of course, you will not even know that you have been making use, just like my director said, everything that has to do with you, the steps you take, the way you speak and all of that, they are mathematically calculated and inclined. So the conception that, and some of them will say, I will not need, one of the misconception is that I will not need mathematics later in life. It's not true. You can even see that whatever you want to study, whether it is law, whether it's English language, anything whatsoever, you definitely will come across mathematics.
I have to thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you so much. I've been discussing with the Director General, National Mathematical Center, Professor Promise Mebini, in the company of the Coordinator of Mathematical Sciences Education, Professor Steve Oluwani. Stay with us. It is still Good Morning Abuja. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back to continue the show.